we're streaming.
Hello, everybody. You are listening to DJ Sawyer.
And DJ Katie.
And we are here with you today doing a brand new show called Around the World in 12 Weeks. Every week this semester, we're going to be exploring a new country, so get ready for that. Today, however, we're going to be starting in Korea.
Yeah, because we have the most music for that.
Yes, we're going to get brand new music for you to explore different countries around the world. We're going to start in Asia, kind of spread out from there. But before we get started on that, we have some weather for you today. The forecast today, right now it's 39 degrees Fahrenheit, it's 4 degrees Celsius. There's patchy fog, and then it's going to be cloudy later with a high of 45 degrees Fahrenheit. A slight chance of showers, about 20% chance of showers, with a low of 38 tonight. And then it's going to be back in the 50s the rest of the week until Sunday when it gets back up into the 60s. And I'm super excited. It's about to warm up.
Woo.
I'm absolutely thrilled. So, the wind speed currently is an easterly 6-mile-an-hour wind. And the wind chill is 35 degrees, so it's a little bit chilly. Make sure you wear your jackets. And with a 93% humidity, which is just absolutely not fantastic, but you know, it works. So there's your weather for the day. Now, Katie, do you want to read the verse of the day, or do you want me to?
Okay. What's the verse?
It's verse 2, but it starts in the middle of a sentence. So,
okay. With all humanity and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love.
Right, that's Ephesians 4:2. It's talking about, verse 1 talks about how, it introduces the verse saying, you know, this is how we should, says we should walk in a manner worthy of the calling to which we've been called. So we're supposed to walk with humility and gentleness and patience and love. And so that's the verse of the day today. That's from the English Standard Version.
Mm-hmm.
So to get started, we're going to play a song for you guys. Just kind of an intro song, and it's Adios by Everglow.
Whoa, adios.
Everglow. 안녕이란 말이 no no 날 대하는 이사뿐이니 no no 싸워봐 아까웠지 yeah yeah 안 보이게 속보라는 듯 그만 사라지는 듯 셀석하니 어서 빨리 서둘러 yeah yeah 벼물거린 거기까지 충분해 blah blah 왜냐면 아주 멀리 떠나줬으면 해 Just wanna let you know 내 두 눈에 띄지 않게 왜 난 날 작아지게 해 난 늘 널 맴돌기만 해 왜 난 슬퍼지게 해 처음부터 주인공은 나였어야 해 Goodbye ever adios What? Goodbye ever adios yeah. Goodbye ever adios Goodbye ever adios 나답지 않다니 그럼 난 더 보낼 거 bang bang 웃으니 장난인 줄 알았나 봐 범위로해 난 수도 to the no 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 끝내볼까 이제 너랑 go 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 Love me, hate me 하루에 몇 번씩 crazy 이런 내가 라타타타 나에 대한 건 또 뻥끗 안 해줬으면 해 I just wanna let you know 내 두 귀에 흔들리게 왜 난 날 작아지게 해 난 늘 맴돌기만 해 왜 난 슬퍼지게 해 처음부터 주인공은 나였어야 해 Goodbye ever adios What? Goodbye ever adios yeah. Goodbye ever adios Goodbye ever adios
너는 왜 지금 입을 막고 있네 흘러가는 소리를 따르기로 했네 그냥 슛하면 잠잠해질 걸 모두 애써 바가지를 긁었대 슈퍼맨이라도 기대하고 있니 이만하면 놀기 좋은 세상 맞지 원래 하던 대로 가던 길만 가면 튀어서 망칠 맞을 일이 없잖니
거인하게 지켜 누리요
yes. 정말 역시 그렇게 말해요 yes. 특별함을 가진 우리요 도대체 무슨 일이 있었나 Hey mamacita 내가 아야야야야 잔인하게 깨져버린 꿈이 아야야야야 뭔가 무너지고 떠났어 눈물마저 다 메말랐어 두른 심장 무게를 느껴 You and 누가 먼저 시작했던 말도 이제 그만 좀 끝내보고 싶어 서로 자극하는 말 목적 없는 전쟁 같아 당장 눈앞에 있는 맘 보고 다리선 이빨을 가려도 보고 정말 중요한 걸 잊었는데도 묻고 서도 소리쳐도 들리지 않나요 yes. 지키지 못할 약속했나요 yes. 시원스레 해결해 봤나요 도대체 무슨 일일까 Hey mamacita 내가 아야야야야 잔인하게 깨져버린 꿈이 아야야야야 뭔가 무너지고 떠났어 눈물마저 다 메말랐어 두른 심장 무게를 느껴 You and 돌아서서 다른 길로 다시 너를 위해 위로 그 자리에 맞게 알로 You ain't got no chance 놓치지 마 한 번 더 나면 잡을 수 없어 What I don't think so 설교하지 마난 탑 중에 탑너 말에 을 중에 을이 파워팀에 빌려버린 자가 너 하나뿐이겠냐
Just close your lips, shut your tongue
나 혼자 다른 꿈을 꾸면 절대 안돼 지금 네가 필요해 네가 필요해 잠도 많고 웃음도 많고 좋아하는 사람들과 살아가고 조금씩은 뒤로 돌아봤을 때 너무 잘해왔구나 생각할 때 나도 있고 우리도 있고 기대해볼 만한 그런 미래 있고 언제라도 우린 다시 한 번 더 힘을 내게 될 테니 Hey mamacita 내가 아야야야야 잔인하게 깨져버린 꿈이 아야야야야 뭔가 무너지고 떠났어 눈물마저 다 메말랐어 두른 심장 무게를 느껴 You and
돌아서서 다른 길로
다시 너를 위해 위로 그 자리에 맞게 알로 You ain't got no chance 놓치지 마 한 번 떠나면 잡을 수 없어 Hey mamacita 내가 아야야야야
Hey peeps, how you doing? That was Mamacita by Super Junior, and before you heard that was Adios by Everglow. And before we went on that music journey, words.
I don't know what you're trying to say, otherwise I'd help, but I have no clue what you're trying to get at.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just being weird because it's the morning. I'm sorry.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's how I am. Anyways, before we did that, we introduced our show. But now I'm going to talk about some new music releases that are coming up and that have already come through. Just really quick, giving you like dates of when they're gonna come out and dates of when they have come out, and then tell you to pay more attention to them because they're freaking awesome. First we have BTS's Map of the Soul 7. It comes out the 21st of February in 2020, and it is awesome. They already have like one song out. It's Black Swan. They've performed it on this, was it Steve Colbert show?
I don't know.
Steve Colbert?
I mean, he has a show.
Yeah, I think
I don't know if they performed it on that one, though.
I just saw it yesterday, but I literally cannot remember the guy's name, and I feel really bad. But they actually spent a whole day with him and played hide and seek with Ashton Kutcher.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty cool. You guys should like watch that because it was pretty funny just to watch like the BTS crack videos of it. So, they have that album coming out, and I am so hyped up for it. You guys should be too, because it is going to be another emo album. And if you're an ARMY, if you've heard my show before, BTS's best themes and their best like eras is when they're emo, because they just do emo so well. So this is going to be a bop album.
I just like emo music. So,
I mean, you would like this. This music is deep and it's dark. Like it's dark themed. It's so cool. And for Black Swan, they perform shoeless. They're like barefoot. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And they actually incorporate a lot of contemporary dance in Black Swan dance.
cool.
So, before I go all out on BTS, which I really
you should move on.
Yeah, we have.
What else is happening?
We have Monsta X. They have been hyping this album for a year or so now. Since December. Yeah. They've been hyping up a fully English album for like a year, and in December they finally announced that they were making one. And on February 14th of 2020, next month, we don't have much longer to wait, Monsta X will put out their very first all English album. And
Woot woot.
yeah, they've already put out a lot of singles from the album that are in English. Let me get my phone. They have Who Do You Love with French Montana featuring with them, and it's already a bop. It's been played on American radios everywhere, and I kid you not, when I heard this on the radio, I died. I went crazy. It's a good song, but my favorite is actually Love You. And Love You is just them wanting to have sex with this girl and just saying, hey, I really want to love you, but I can't say that on the radio because they won't play my song, so I'm just going to say I really, really want to love you. But they mean they just really, really want to have sex with the girl. But I don't think we can play that song on our radio. But
Probably not.
I mean, I wish. But that's the song I want to recommend to you guys, sadly. But it's a really good song, has a good beat, and it has an American vibe to it. And Monsta X has an American vibe to them. They've always had. And then they have Someone, Middle of the Night, and then another version of Who Do You Love that's on the album that is already out, and the rest just is like tracks like 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, it just says that. So if you guys want to pre-listen to the album before you want to want to buy it, or you want to download it on your phone, you can listen to the songs. But I recommend you download it. It comes out February 14th. Next we have Stray Kids.
Woo!
Right? That's what I said. I literally had like a freak out whenever I heard them. So they came out the 24th of January.
Do I remember this? Do I remember you freaking out over this one?
You did, because I was like, oh my god, BTS has a new album coming out, and Stray Kids put out 2 English songs! English songs!
Okay, yes, I do remember that now.
Yeah.
You freak out so much over K-pop music, I forget which one is which.
I'm a K-pop fan. I love it. I love it so much.
So what's Stray Kids doing?
They put out a single, an album full of 2 singles. It's called Step Out of Clay. And, basically, clay means key in French. But, yeah.
Okay.
It's all part of their era. They began a new era after the IMU era ended. And actually, the IMU era is part. Okay. So the IMU period is probably a part of the clay period, but it's just in a different, like, they're like in a different, like, part. I don't know. K-pop goes through eras.
So the era is evolving. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the era is
Okay.
changing again because the IMU. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
They went into a different era from their IMU era. Now they're in the clay era, the maze, the clay era, and they're actually, I think they're leaving it. They're leaving the clay era. Well, the album is called Step Out of Clay. So, probably. But this album is actually an English album, once again. It has 2 English songs, and it's just basically a remake of Double Knot and Levanter.
Okay.
Double Knot they've actually remade twice because they had to take a member out, and that's a sad thing I won't talk about. And then Levanter actually has a really, really deep meaning. I think basically it talks about them moving on from someone and trying to, be okay and, love themselves. And that's like a lot of talked about in K-pop. That's talked about a lot. But, it's more emotional, I think. Anyways, this album is really cool, and I think you guys should check it out. And if you want to hear a lot of Chun and Felix's Australian accents, you should probably listen to this song because it sounds pop. I'm sorry, I'm addicted to it. I've never liked Australian accents until then. Wow, but like they're cute too, and they're sweet. Their sweetness, their niceness really gets to me. I think they're really adorable.
Goodness.
Anyways, I'm gonna stop fangirling. That's
a good idea.
Those are the 3 probably most popular new albums coming out, and yeah.
Okay.
So there you go.
So we're going to switch gears just a tiny bit. While Katie does music industry stuff, I am the history nerd. So part of the show is like the whole point of the show is just kind of, reach the students of CBC, the faculty of CBC. It just kind of lets y'all in on what's going on around the world music-wise, but also just kind of gives some history behind it, just to kind of, give everybody like a fully rounded idea of cultures and stuff. So that's my part. I do the history geeky stuff. So we're just going to talk for a quick second about some Korean culture, and then whenever we come back after a music break, we can talk about some more music industry news, because I know that you have more stuff, Katie.
I have some news that's been going on in the K-pop world, mainly just popular K-pop news, because I'm not an indie person. I like popular music, and it's terrible because a lot of the people I know don't. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So we'll come back from the music break and get some more music news for you, and then I can give you some history behind the country of South Korea. But for right now, let's just quickly dive into South Korean culture, because this is what we're talking about, is South Korea, not North Korea. We don't talk about North Korea. We don't talk about North Korea. I'm actually going to mention them later, but we're not talking about them right now. North Korea is just a whole different ballgame. So in South Korea, and I can tie this back to the history part later as soon as I fix my microphone, because I'm tired of bending over like an old lady. So, in South Korea, the culture is heavily influenced by Confucianism. And that's because of its history with Japan, and also just because it's really close to China, and it was a really big deal in China too. But it actually comes through a lot in their culture, and I know that Katie has like drilled into me random things about their culture at home. And so, and it actually makes a lot more sense now that I've looked this up, and I've looked at it. So in Korean culture, a lot of the influence from Confucianism is still very relevant and still very easy to see, if you know what you're looking for. But there's a heavy emphasis on duty, honor, loyalty, sincerity, respect, and politeness. And that was a really big deal in Confucianism. It's a lot bigger. It's really big deal in South Korea too because of that. But I know that Katie's like, whenever she speaks Korean at home, she keeps talking to me about honorifics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where a lot of that comes from in their language. Is from the reason that they use honorifics and stuff. A lot of it is because of this emphasis on stuff. They also have to do, what's the word I'm looking for? Mandatory military time. The men do.
2 years.
So I guess that's part of the duty aspect, but like there's just a bunch of different things that go in with it. There's also an hierarchical family structure. Hierarchical. It's a weird word to say, and that's hierarchical. There's a hierarchy in the family. We're just gonna go with that. So the father's the head of the family, and then it just kind of trickles down from there. With the mother being the next, and then the children obviously being last. But there's a heavy emphasis on children obeying their parents and respecting their parents and their elders, even the elders who aren't like their actual family. But that's actually why this hierarchical family structure and that level of required respect, or expected respect, I guess is a better word, is why many Korean adults still live with their parents even after they reach adulthood. It's because it is seen in that culture that the duty of the child is to take care of their parents. There's a heavy emphasis on showing respect to elders and family. There's a very close-knit family structure in South Korea. And it's seen a lot in like the way they eat. The oldest always eat first, and then it kind of goes on from there. Another thing that Katie's kind of taught to me about sometimes, but I never really fully grasped because we don't talk about it a lot, is that Koreans bow as a sign of respect and gratitude. It's the article that I looked at for this one. It actually had some business tips, like if you go on a business trip to South Korea, and it redid something. The word is leaving my mind. It compared it. There we go. Compared bowing in Korean culture to the handshake. For us, it's not necessarily a sign of like, authority. It's not a sign of respect to like a high authority figure necessarily, like we would think of it, and how it is in different cultures. It's just a sign of respect on a very basic as well as a very high level as well. So it's similar to the American tradition of the handshake. It's not exactly the same, but it's very similar to that.
Mhm.
And like many countries, Koreans have very strong nationalistic views and do not necessarily appreciate it whenever you bring up negative things in their history. So to all of the Koreans that end up hearing the show, my apologies. I'm going to bring up a couple, but just to kind of give some people some context on how y'all got to where you are today, because that's important. And don't worry, it's not just your country. I talk negative things about my country too. So
Many negative things.
context is important, and we kind of have to take the good along. We have to take the bad along with the good on that.
Yeah, you have to
So
look at the good things, but also look at the bad things, and that's how you you see your country.
that's how we learn. So there's just a little like quick basis of South Korean culture for you.
Woo woo woo.
And now we're gonna take another quick music break and
Now.
talk about, we're gonna play a couple of songs from the people that Katie mentioned are having new albums out. So you're going to be listening to BTS and then Stray Kids single Double Knot that they've remade apparently a couple of times.
Yeah, they have.
And then you're gonna listen to Monsta X, and then we will be back online. So enjoy.
Somebody call me right. Somebody call me right. 날 신경 쓰지 않을래. 나도 그런 어때. Somebody let go.
가슴들 안에 많은 걱정이 숨어있는 고민들만해 내 눈에 내가 알고 있지 이 중간에 포기하고 싶은 순간에 더 크게 소리 질러봤어 what
내 맘대로 되는 건 없고 숨을 곳숨어 더더욱 없어 이미 투섭이 던져지지 오래 꿈을 대단히 들려가겠지 오래 고민들의 하려니까 만들어낸 상상의 늪 고민보다 꼭꼭 펴지 마렴처럼 손을 쳐봐서 We are young and wild and free 답도 없는 고민 그 속에 빠져있지만 yeah. 경계선 위에서 위태롭다 해도 웃고 떠들며 바람을 가르자 때론 바보같이 멍청이 달리기 실수와 눈물 속을 just go forward 멈춰서 고민하지 마 앉아 쓸데없어 let go 아직은 답이 없지만 You can start to find someone let go Let's go. 아이, 누군 일들이 싫대 아이, 누구 쉬고만 싶대 아이, 그들의 고통과 패패 아이, 모두 내가 몰아쳤대 아이, 어떡하기 뭐 어떡해 답은 하나밖에 없게 그냥 믿고 달려보자고 So
I wanna die right now I wanna fight right now 걱정이 싫어 인생은 길어 I wanna live right now 렉 부러졌으니 밟아 excel 일어나 저러나 사람 신세 산다면 무슨 재미냐 고통은 내 혼자 그래서 so what We are young and wild and free
답도 없는 고민 그 속에 빠져있지만 yeah. 경계선 위에서 위태롭다 해도 웃고 떠들며 바람을 가르자 때론 바보같이 멍청이 달리기 실수와 눈물 속에 We just go forward 멈춰서 고민하지 마 다 쓸데없어 let go 아직은 답이 없지만 You can start to find someone let go Somebody call me wrong 난 신경 쓰지 않을래 나도 그러면 돼 So what 멈춰서 고민하지 마 쓸데없어 Let go 아직은 답이 없지만 You can start to find someone Somebody call me right on Somebody call me wrong 난 신경 쓰지 않을래 너도 그러면 돼 어지럽게 뒤엉킨 머릿속에 거미처럼 어디로 갈까 하는 질문이 된 상관없어 발길이 닿는 대로 목표보고 나와 Get up 어디든 나는 갈 수 있어 Get up 갈 길을 가지 모두 비켜 Get out 어디로 가든 신경 거 다다라라 다라라다
웅크렸던 자세를 펴 어디든 걸어 여유를 느껴 흙탕물 범벅길도 삐까본 척한 길로
드라마틱함 틱하면 틱하고 척하면 척하는 결말을 만드는 감독 인생 명작서 꽉꽉 끈질기게 꺾어먹고 떠버려 꺾어먹고 떠버려 Shake it 어디로든 가난 Go go 내 맘대로 골라 Go go 어디로든 가난 Go go 가고 싶은 대로 따따라라 따라라따
뜬금없는 다이 삽디 없는 코인 어떤 면이 보인 때도 상관없어 나는 방해 없는 나침반에 보면 고
말은 그렇지 못하더라도 괜찮아 백 중에 하나라도
어쩌다 욕심부려 모든 색을 치러봤자 검은색만 남아
Get up 어디든 나는 갈 수 있어 Get up 갈 길을 가지 모두 비켜 Get up 어디로 가든 신경 낼거 따따라라 따라라따 한곳만을 바라보고 왔던 내 시야는 넓어지고 많은 길로 눈을 돌려 여러 갈래 길로 나눠진 이곳을 보며 거진 동고 Go break the rules 다리 막 타는 대로 숨이 더 끝까지 차오나 꽉꽉 끈질기게 꺾고 떠올려 꺾고 떠올려 Shake it 어디로든 가난 Go go 내 맘대로 골라 Go go 어디로든 가난 Go go 가고 싶은 대로 따따라라 따라라따 멈추든 말든 에이 에이 노려보라고 에이 에이 놀라지 말지 모두 자내 맘대로 Double dot Double dot Hey Ga 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 Hey Ga ga double dot
Y'all know what it is, man.
Monster Monster
Monster X is a big nigga right here. X. What? Okay, man. Let's go.
하루 종일 널 지켜보면서 발견한 유일한 문제점 yeah. 너를 귀찮게 만드는 가식뿐인 늑대 같은 남자들 아니야 넌 내 건데 내가 지켜야 할 의무가 있는데 yeah. 누가 널 잘 때 넌 볼 수 없게 내가 지켜줄게 넌 너무나 아름다워서 난 저기 많아 마치 공주를 지킨 느낌 같아 걱정하지만 난 너만한 남자 I can be a hero I can be a hero I can be a hero I can be your hero I can be your man I can be your hero I can be your man I can be your hero I can be your man I can be your hero I can be your man Oh yeah? I can be your hero 악당들은 뒤로 나쁜 것들 포대기에 싸맨다면 추억이 싫어 하나같이 다 짐승 같은 보여 동물원에 버려 전부 말들이 많아 널 가지러 뱉어대는 개소리 What? 만만하게 날 봤다만 벗어먹고 그게 다라 바지 위에 팬티를 입고 막 소리 달아 수트도 가끔 입고 가슴에서 빛이 나 우리가 빛이 나 다들 고개를 봐 마지막 경고할게 화나면 난리나 나 무섭게 변해 누가 널 절대 넌 볼 수 없게 내가 지켜줄게 넌 너무나 아름다워서 난 적이 많아 마치 공주를 지킨 느낌 같아 걱정하지만 난 너만한 남자 I can be a hero I can be a hero I can be a hero I can be your hero I can be your man I can be your hero I can be your man I can be your hero I can be your man I can be your hero I can be your man
난 너의 악당들을 모두 하나같이 뱅뱅뱅뱅 하늘을 슝슝 그냥 막 하늘을 날아다녀 슈퍼맨 너의 꼬리 위에 매달려 웃음짓게 만들어 내게 뱀네 너 후에 만드는 그 어떤 악당들이 이제는 싹 다 거지라 할게요
I can be a hero I can be the hero I can be your man I can be the hero I can be your man I can be the hero I can be your man I can be the hero I can be your man I can be the hero I can be your man I can be the hero I can be your man I can be the hero I can be your man I can be the hero I can be your man
Hey, what's up, guys? So, we ended our little talking before the music break with talking about some of Korea's hot culture things. Yeah.
Woot woot.
And we listened to, I can't remember the first one.
It was BTS.
Wow, that's really sad. I'm really mad at myself now. BTS is So What?
Yes.
And then we heard Stray Kids' Double Knot, which actually features Woojin in it. And if you're a stay, you know what that means. And then we heard Monsta X's Hero, which is probably one of their best songs. Besides
Fantastic
Rush.
song.
Yes. Or besides Love You. Ha ha! Yeah! Ha! Stream All About Love.
Okay. I have no idea why you're so excited. But
I am very excited whenever I talk about K-pop. I love it so much!
Well, how about you tell us some industry news and kind of chill your fangirl out a bit?
Not gonna chill. I only have a few things, and they're not to like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Probably things you've known before. But I actually got a chance to talk to an XOL about it. So if you haven't heard, Chen from EXO is getting married and he's having a baby. But the thing is, he's getting married and having a baby with a person who is not a K-pop star or who's not an artist. She's just an average citizen, a normal person. So that's big news. And a lot of the XOLs hate that because they want to know her name and they want to ruin her life. That's sad. But hey, what can you do? Anyways, that's a big deal within K-pop too. That he's getting married and having a kid before he's getting married. Because in K-pop, if you were to marry someone or have a baby with someone before you get married with them, you would either get kicked out of your group, get kicked out of your country, wow, get kicked out of your company, leave Korea for having a baby.
It's not, I know I talked about the fact that it was based on Confucianism, but it's not nearly that intense, Katie.
No,
they're not going to kick you out of Korea.
They would kick them out. They would typically kick them out of the company or the group. But because fans don't like that, and since each K-pop person holds a stock, is like their own like little stock thing within the company, if whatever they do could affect how much money or how much their stock rises or falls in the stock market, them as a person. So if they do anything, have any scandals, do anything like that, it could be big, and they'll have to get rid of them before anything bad happens. But SM Entertainment is doing something weird. They're letting their artists have more freedom. And JYP is doing that too because Momo's dating Heechul. And Momo's from Twice. And Heechul's from Super Junior.
Yeah, I knew Heechul's name. She's like, I know that dude. I know him.
Momo
Him a
and
god.
Peachel, they've had a flirting affair for a while, and people were trying to say, "Hey, are they a thing?" Because they're kind of cute. The thing that put them out was that Peachel was playing a game with Twice on Knowing Brothers, that TV show. Which, if you haven't watched that, please do. It's amazing. But she was trying to make his heart flutter for this, like, I don't know, it was like a machine that measured your heart and how much it pounded, how much it beat. She was trying to make his heart beat out, really fast. And so she flirted with him on camera, and as soon as she like did something even minutely cute, he just is like it was freaking out, and it was so cute. And there's like mini crack videos of them, freaking out and all that jazz. But anyways, SM Entertainment's getting more lenient with what their artists do, and I think it's a bold, statement, to send to XOLs, especially Korean XOLs, that they're not going to kick him out. They're not going to get rid of him. They're not going to give him any punishment either. He's a man. He's a grown man. He can live his life. He can have a baby. He can get married. He can do it out of order. He's a grown man. He can do that. And even though we Christians don't believe in that, still we're not going to condemn someone. But XOLs, Korean XOLs, didn't respond well to this news. They actually, what's it called? They
Riot?
Not riot.
Protest.
Yeah, they protested in front of SM Entertainment. They sat there, laid down, and said, "We're not leaving until you kick out Chen."
Well, at least it was a peaceful protest.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
I mean, it's still crappy, but at least it was peaceful.
At least they didn't trash a whole city. That's the thing. But they actually were going to have hundreds and hundreds of people show up, but not a lot of people did, because a lot of the Korean XOLs that do believe in stuff like that are kind of crazy, might I say. They're a little too obsessed. I mean, if I was obsessed over an American band, I wouldn't do that, but I would be like, oh my gosh.
You could say that they're making it their idol.
Well, they are idols, though. That's
Katie, it was different context.
Oh, Christian context?
Sort of.
Yeah. They put too much. I think fans who are too obsessed with their people that they listen to, who don't want them to have a life, who don't want them to find love, who don't want them to start a family, who don't want them to do this, who don't want them to do that. You're trying to control their life, and I just think you're putting too much, attention on them. They shouldn't be that important in your life.
So how have international XOLs reacted to it?
Basically what I just said.
So they're fine with it?
Actually, international fans are applauding it. They're like wishing him happiness. They're saying, I hope it's like a good pregnancy. I hope you have a happy marriage. And they're like fangirling over the baby already.
Well, of course, you can't not fangirl over a baby. Like,
I mean,
K-pop baby or not, you can't not fangirl over a baby.
Just this whole instance has really put there was already a little divide between Korean fans and international fans. It just wasn't that deep because we're all fans of that group, so we love each other. But it's just there's a difference. International fans have to work harder. We have to pay more. We have to do all this. And it's just, harder for us to love them. When the Korean fans, oh yeah, well, I live down the street from the stadium and I could just go. Or oh wait, they're in the corner of downtown and they're performing a live performance. Oh my gosh, let's go. Yeah, it's just,
So it's basically Conway with Landco whenever they came to Toadsuck?
Yeah, I guess.
That was the concert that you left for.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's kind of like that.
That I was freaking out about.
It's kind of like Dan and Shay, if they were...
And you went to... One of them went to your high school.
Yep. Shay Mooney. Yeah, we used to make fun of him in our high school because he was a singer and he wanted to be a singer, but we didn't believe he would do anything. We're like, Shane Mooney.
Oh my God.
We used to do that. My brother, he talked about it a lot. They talked about it when he left a lot, but you know, I kind of feel bad for making fun of him because look at him now.
Yeah.
Married to a model and singing all this stuff. Dang, boy. Well, anyways, it's kind of like having Dan and Shay here in America and even in the South. You know, they could perform anywhere here in the South and I can go to it affordably. But, you know, people overseas or people in other states, they can't really do that very easily. So, it's kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that little conflict, Chen's little problem, Chen's life growth, you know?
His little problem. His life. It's fine.
Hey, little problem.
Wow.
But Chen's
For those of you who don't understand Katie humor, she was referring to the baby.
Ken's scandal that he went under that XOL Koreans called a scandal.
It's not
Really?
a scandal.
Well, that's what they called it.
It's not a
I know it's not a scandal. I know it's terrible. That's what international fans say. We argue all the time. Because what Korean fans call a scandal, we just call like life.
Normal.
It was like, oh my gosh, you're dating somebody. Oh no! The world will end!
My gosh.
Anyways, that really pronounced like the conflict between international fans and Korean fans. A lot of different bands don't have that problem, but the popular bands tend to have that problem.
So as an XOL, how do you feel?
Fudge cake. Shut the fudge out of your mouth. I can't understand you.
I have no fudge though. There is no fudge
There is
anymore.
a fudge brownie right here. Get it out.
That's not mine though. That's yours, and it's still in the package. I have no fudge.
I'm sorry for that because I'm sorry for disrespecting fudge like that.
So,
Because
for those of you who don't know, Katie is a very, very passionate Army and stay.
Yes.
And armies and XOLs don't really get along all that well.
No.
But she is
XOLs don't get along with
she is a closet XOL, and me and Blair, one of our best friends, have been trying to get her to admit it for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And Chen's getting married and having a baby was one way that I almost conned her into calling herself an XOL via text message, and it was hilarious.
She texted me and I don't know what you said, but I
just said that Chen and his fiance were having a baby, and you were like, yeah, and I'm just like, I don't remember what I said. I said something that Blair said. She told me to text you something, and so I did. But I called you an XOL, and you were like, no. I was like, except, yeah, you are.
I said that no matter what, I will love and support Chen and everything that he does because he's an amazing singer, and I only pay attention to his music career, not his life.
Like an international XOL.
Shut up!
Do you have any other news?
I do. So a big thing happened. In the Grammys, we had some K-pop nominations, mainly some BTS nominations. Don't ask me because I don't like the Grammys, so I didn't pay attention to it. But I did watch a video of some YouTubers, and if you ever want to get more knowledgeable about anything K-pop or anything BTS related to America or any K-pop related to America, like award shows and such, I would look it up on YouTube and just look up that specific award show or that specific band in America, and you will find a lot of helpful videos and YouTubers explaining it way better than I ever could. But I'm going to do my best. But first of all, BTS had a performance at the Grammys.
Woot woot.
Yeah, right? It's a big deal to them. They have been nominated, but they won't win. But they won't. They haven't won yet. So the Grammys is a difficult thing because the Grammys used to be based off of, like, meaningful music. Like, what's a deep song?
No idea. But basically, you're talking about songs with meaning, right?
Yeah, songs with meaning, things that hit you to the core and that you feel. You know, last semester when I talked about K-pop music, some K-pop music just hit me in the chest, and I just was weighted down, and I just had to like think on what that song was and what that song meant. So, that's what they used to judge the songs on. The people who actually gave the awards out, who actually like told who won or who didn't. But it's shifted as the time has shifted, and now they go off more popular music and what everyone's listening to. So that's kind of hard because there's been artists like Mariah Carey who she made deep and meaningful, beautiful songs way
I
back.
love Mariah Carey.
Yeah, way back when, but you know,
I actually listen to her much, but she's really good.
her songs were more popular.
Mhm.
And she didn't win, but nowadays she has deeper songs and they won't win, and it's just hard.
She can't win.
Yeah, she's an amazing
Poor girl.
she's an amazing artist, and she tried to tailor her songs to win a Grammy because I've actually seen from another artist talking about the Grammys. As soon as you win a Grammy, it goes up $. It goes up. She's like, it adds a couple of zeros to your check if you win a Grammy, no matter what you do. So she tried her hardest to
That means
do
Billie
that.
Eilish has got quite a few zeros
Yeah,
added to her paycheck, I've heard.
really, really good. I mean, but she deserves it too. She's gonna need it for her next album. It took her years to make her first album. Her next album's gonna be.
I want to feel sympathy, but she's younger than me, so I can't.
I just don't like her because she's just so.
I want to feel sympathy. I want to feel sympathy for the people, especially the young people in the music industry who like take years to perform, like to get to the performance level that they're at to where they can do that. But at the same time, she's like a couple years younger than me, and I'm still in college, so there's only so much sympathy I can give.
Yeah. Well, so with that newfound knowledge, though, it's kind of hard to like make music and tailor music to win a Grammy nowadays because
Yeah.
the Grammys keep changing on how they're judging music and how they're doing this and how they're doing that, and it comes to a point where the people who vote on the billboards, oh my gosh, too many award shows. That's another
The
deal.
BTS actually won on the billboards.
Yeah, I know. The people who vote on the Grammys don't actually have a vote. So it runs down to like who runs the Grammys and they decide who wins. Because in the Grammys, they also have people that vote who are on the board who vote for who they think is really cool or they like the music or just for that category, you know.
Mhm.
But so it's really hard for artists and K-pop artists to win, even though they made specific genres for them, like group
But you're not
group
better.
awards and stuff like that. No, actually, no. I just really don't care, but I just think they've.
You're really,
earned it.
really passionate for not caring.
I am really upset for other artists. For other artists, actually, because there's a lot of other K-pop artists that deserve so many awards, like Monsta X, like TXT, like Stray Kids and Twice and GOT7 and ATEEZ, especially ATEEZ. They're really good. And they're just rookies. That's amazing. anyways, even though all this has happened, Stray Kids, too many boy bands in my brain. BTS has stayed humble about it. They're like, we're just happy we got to go, we got to perform, and we've been on music shows before. We've been on these grand stages for music shows in Korea and China and Japan. So we understand that it's not like a night and day thing. It doesn't just take an hour, to win an award. It takes years. It takes albums upon albums, and they said they're willing to wait for whenever they are able or whenever they will win a Grammy. But they're being hopeful and optimistic, and I love it.
I mean, they've been making big strides in America anyways. I mean, they
Well,
won an award at the BBMAs a couple years ago. And then they performed at the Ball Drop New Year's Eve this past year. And then they got to perform at the Grammys. So, like, even
they
though...
perform with Lil Nas.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, they
So-
brought Soul Town Road.
So even... That hurts my heart so much. But even though they haven't won a Grammy yet, they've still been making really huge strides in America, and that's big for any band, but especially for foreign. Here, that's really impressive. I'm really proud of them, actually. And I'm not like an ARMY or anything, but they've been doing good.
They've been happy just to get nominated for an award in the Grammys. They think it's
that's a big
honor.
deal.
It is, because they are a foreign, considering they're not close to America, they are a foreign band, like far away from the East. So, it's an honor to get nominated. They also, like, the further they go, the more ways that America's open to inviting more K-pop bands. And
hopefully.
Fingers
crossed.
They have, Stray Kids have been doing things on Good Morning New York.
Okay.
They just went on there and, they partied it up and did some dances and talked with them. And they've had, like, these really good interviews. And getting good interviews in America is really hard for K-pop stars.
It's hard for anybody, but especially foreign people.
Yeah, because then there's, like, a culture, difference and...
Well, that too, but we're sort of nationalistic as well on that. We tend to stick to our own whenever it comes to things like that.
Yeah.
But
foreign
music has been making a really big jump, so...
Yeah. And it's
been
a lot of the bands that have been, making a way, like BTS and Monsta X. Monsta X has been doing some good things too, and their first album in English, in all English, is going to be really, really good, and it's going to make a big, big way for them in America. But they're already Americanized anyways.
Yeah.
They're not the Korean type of beautiful. They're not small, petite. They're not like, androgynous. They're manly men who love women and all that.
Thank goodness.
They are very Americanized and very Americanized in their music. So they're going to do really well in America. And I know some Korean bands who won't do well in America, but I think they will.
That's good.
But that's that, my problem with the Grammys, but also the Grammys giving BTS a shout out by letting them perform. There's been some, like, international fans that are mad because the Grammys didn't give them much light for them to perform. But I'm like, they performed with Lil Nas, which he's really popular right now. And they performed a song they helped him rewrite, because he performs Old Town Road, and then RM rewrote it to be Soul Town Road. And they worked with Lil Nas on that, and they let them perform that, so that's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Other news, just little tidbits. Hyuna and E'Dawn are still together.
Yay!
Cannot wait for them to get married, and I've tried to find out if they thought about it, but there's been some theories that, like, in some of their songs, their old songs, they talked about getting married. They called each other fiancé.
Nice.
And, I'll keep you guys update on their situation. I love them.
So for those of you just tuning in, there is a boy band called Pentagon that is absolutely amazing, and I think I'm actually going to move this song up in the playlist a little bit now that we've talked about that. So in Pentagon, E'Dawn was one of their rappers, and he got kicked out of the group because... And the company, because it was revealed that he had been dating Hyuna for years. And were they with the same company? Yeah, she didn't get kicked out immediately, but he did. Got kicked out of his group, kicked out of the company, and she eventually left.
They went to P Nation, Size.
And they're still together, and it's awesome. And he's actually got his own solo career now. And she had her own solo career before, and she's just doing something different with it now, with a different company. So I'm really excited. I'm glad that they're still doing well, because that was a really big thing whenever he had to leave.
We worried about, like, what
Pentagon basically made a revenge album after they kicked him out, and it was fantastic.
So they made this song called Naughty Boy, and it basically they call, like, was it CJ Entertainment are they under?
I have no idea.
Cube Entertainment. They're under Cube Entertainment. They basically made fun of them and called them names.
and be like, "Screw you! We can do what we want. We can be what we want. Forget you.
It was fantastic.
Forget you and forget you too."
All right, so
Actually, I have some news on them.
you do what news? Please tell.
So Cube is not known for taking care of their artists.
Well, no, obviously.
They go in little. What's it called? They go through phases.
Okay.
And Cube Entertainment also has 17, I believe, or is 17 under someone else? I know Cube has another band. They're putting a lot of people into. They're putting a lot of emphasis on, and they're neglecting Pentagon. And I heard from a fellow friend, that Cube, Pentagon might not be staying together as a group.
They better. I will be legit upset. Pentagon's my favorite.
I've been so caught up with BTS and Stray Kids that I haven't gotten time to really look up the rumor, but the rumor
Okay, probably
is,
not my favorite, but they're amazing.
they're dorks and they're
Super
lovable
Junior's
dorks.
my favorite, but
It's just a rumor, so I'm gonna look more into it, and if something happens to them, I'll tell you about it. But I'll tell you, Pentagon might split up. They might, but
better
I'm not gonna say it as a fact. I'm just gonna say it as a rumor. But Cube is known for not taking care of their artists and going through phases with their artists. So we don't want Pentagon to split up.
Definitely not.
But ish happens.
Yeah. So as a tribute to Pentagon and to Edon, we're going to play Shine for you real quick, and then we'll come back and tell you just a little bit, very quickly, about South Korean culture. So be sure to tune in a couple minutes.
나는 뭐랄까 아주 오래전부터 너를 좋아했었다고 지금 말한다면 뭐가 달라질까요
달라질 게 없는 맘을 가진 너는 마치 뿌리 깊은 나무 같아서 신이 곱게 빚은 한 송이의 flower 사라지지 마 달라지지 마
내가 너를 좋아해도 nobody knows 다른 여자를 봐도 nobody's like you
용기가 없어서 I'm sorry 더 말까 비어서 그래 나는
널 사랑하는 찌질이
그래 나는 머저리
난 너한테는 거머리 겉절이
이 세상 너 하나면 돼 Baby I'm only yours I'm only yours oh no 나나 결국에 난 사랑 앞에선 내 지질이
나는 뭐랄까 아직도 많이 좋아할 것 같아
왜 대체 말을 못할까 기죽은 어린애 같다
다른 사람 만나지만 내 가슴 무너지게 그러지 마요 빈틈없는 그대에게 난 무리일까요 텅 빈 맘은 공터인데 머릿속은 터지네 맘 언제 이렇게 돼버렸나요
내가 너를 좋아해도 Nobody knows 다른 여자를 봐도 Nobody's like you 용기가 없어서 I'm sorry 더 말까 비었어 그래 나는
널 사랑하는 찌질이
그래 나는 머저리
난 너한테는 거머리 겉절이
이 세상 너 하나면 돼 Baby I'm only yours I'm only yours oh no 나나 결국엔 넌내 사랑 앞에선 내 지젤이
네가 나의 주복이 돼 보고만 있어도 힘이 나네 이 하늘에 빛이 나네 내 맘이 너에게 닿기를 바래 말하지 않아도 no 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 언제나 내 맘은 no 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 아름다운 그대와 걸어가고 싶어
Everybody knows 한 가지 말할 게 있어 Listen to my heart 볼 땐 네 옆에서는 떨려 그래 love you love you love you like you like you like you 너를 사랑해 널 사랑하는 찌질이 그래 나는 머저리 난 너한테는 거머리 겉절이 이 세상 너 하나면 돼 Everybody say 나 너와 나 baby 눈을 감아 뭐 할까 두개 깎아 너를 봐 이제야 난 내 사랑 앞에서 내 빛나리
And we are back.
Hey, yo.
Hello, wonderful human beings.
What did we just talk about?
Let me put our faces back up here so you can see us. Hey, there we go.
I'm eating a fudge brownie.
All right. So we just talked about some music industry news.
Gossip.
About some wonderful things and weird things happening in K-pop stuff. So now we're going to do a relatively quick overview of some South Korean history.
I talked too long.
No reason to apologize. That's what we're here for. That's the whole point of the show, is to talk about the music industries and different cultures.
If only we were here for 2 hours.
If we were here for 2 hours, I would die. So, so here we go as far as history goes. So South Korea is located in East Asia. They have a population of about 51 million people, and about half of them live in Seoul, which is the capital, which is insane. Like, it's a 620 square mile country, and half of their population is in one city. I cannot even imagine.
It's kind of like New York, though.
That's crazy, man. I don't know how to do that. Like
New York City, New York.
I can't live with that many people. Like, I am just not that much of a people person.
Oh my gosh.
Their main language is Korean.
Woo-hoo.
And they're very passionate about their written language, their written alphabet, which is called Hangul. They're very, very passionate about that. They love that language.
That very well. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Just wait until I get to more names later.
If you want me to pronounce the names, I will.
I'm going to attempt to not butcher them, and then I'll let you correct me. So, they're not too terrible. All right, so the major religions in Korea are Buddhism and Christianity, but about half the adults in Korea actually profess no religion at all. So even though those are the major ones, that's only like half the country. So just a really quick overview of how South Korea became South Korea. In 668 AD, we're going to go back a little bit, several competing kingdoms along the Korean peninsula unified into a single dominion. And they had cultural independence for thousands of years, had several different dynasties, the last of which was the Chosun dynasty. That's probably the Japanese pronunciation because it's easier. But
How do you spell it?
Choson. So Chosun. Japanese pronounce it just a tiny bit different. But Japan was also relatively nearby when that happened.
Was this before the Korean language was created?
I don't actually know that. But somewhere in there. So until the 16th and 17th centuries, that's whenever Japan and the Manchus of East Asia started invading. Japan started invading in the 16th century, and the Manchus started invading in the 17th century. The Manchus were actually around where China is now. And after surviving several invasions from them, they decided to commit to isolationism and limit their contact with the outside world. Because they were just kind of tired of it, and they had a 250-year period of peace, where very few Koreans traveled outside the country at all, and it actually worked pretty well for them. In the 19th century, Western powers like Britain, France, and the United States attempted to open trade and diplomatic relations with Korea, and that did not work very well for them at all. Like, Korea just pretty much was like, no, dude, we're fine. I'm not going to be able to elaborate as much as you want me to. I apologize. I'm going to speed through this. So, in 1905, Japan occupied Korea at the end of the Russo-Japanese War, and Korea was formally annexed into Japan 5 years later. And this started the Japanese colonial rule over Korea, which lasted for 35 years. And this is whenever Korea became an industrialized country. They started doing industry stuff with factories and textiles and all of that stuff. At the end of World War II, Japan was kicked out of Korea for good. Yay. And Korea was partitioned into North and South. So this is whenever the divide happened between North and South Korea. Before that, it was just one united peninsula. The Soviet Union had control over the northern partition, and the United States had control over the southern partition. And this was when the capitals were established at Pyongyang in the north. Pyongyang. That one. That thing in the north, and then Seoul in the south. South Korea declared independence in 1950, which prompted North Korea, with the support of China and the Soviet Union, to invade South Korea in an effort to regain control over the entire peninsula. Because, of course, that's what North Korea does. And that's what the Soviet Union does. And that's what China does. So this conflict, this conflict is now known as the Korean War. And the United States fought alongside South Korea. And the war sort of ended in 1953 with an established armistice or ceasefire. But 2 million lives were lost in just those 3 years. The armistice agreement that was signed at the end of the Korean War established a demilitarized zone between North and South Korea at what's known as the 38th parallel, which is just 38 degrees northern latitude. But since that war, South Korea has maintained a close relationship with the United States, which is really cool for us. But something else big happened in more recent history. In 2018, North and South Korean leaders met in the South, which is the first time that's ever happened in the Northern and Southern history.
It's a big deal.
They met to discuss the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, and then vowed to negotiate a peace treaty to replace the armistice that was set in place in 1953, and initiated talks with the United States to officially declare an end to the Korean War, because there was no official end to the Korean War, there was just a ceasefire. So,
very long war.
Yeah, but they haven't been fighting for the majority of it. They only fought for 3 years. So it's been an interesting road for South Korea, but they seem to be doing well. They even hosted the Winter Olympic Games in 2018.
Woo-woo.
So that's just a little really quick history about South Korea. And we're going to have to sign off. Now we are out of time. But thank you for tuning in to our first show. This has been so much fun. I had a ton of fun. I'm a history geek, and this was great.
The music, I'll try to be more diversified in our next music section.
Yes. Be sure to tune in next week at 8 p.m. Tune in.
You say tournament.
Tune in. Tune in next week, next Thursday at 8 p.m. is our actual showtime. We had to do it early today because we have a basketball pep band thing that we had to do tonight. I mentioned that yesterday, the Mustang Informative. So just make sure to tune in next Thursday at 8 p.m. We're going to talk about China.
Woo!
So I'm super excited. But yeah, so this is Around the World in 12 Weeks, and you're listening to DJ Sawyer
and DJ Katie.
Signing off now. Y'all have a great day.
Annyeong.